we talked a little bit about where Wing came from and what our previous architecture was like and stuff, and then where Wing 5, the evolution of Wing 5 and stuff. So a big change that took place was our configuration model. We went from sort of a flat configuration model to a hierarchical or modular concept where you have these concepts of sites or RF domains and profiles and policies and stuff. So the basic building blocks of our configuration are going to be, of course, your sites, your RF domains, your device type parameters or profiles. So we'll have, if you look at a Wing 5 config on a controller, he's going to have a bunch of default profiles already defined. He's going to have, like the 9500 is going to have the NX 9000 default profile. We'll have default profiles for all the different AP types, and that's of course because they're different hardware types, right? We've got some APs that have dual gig interfaces, some that don't, different radio models and all that stuff. So the profiles, of course, are going to give us a way to do mass configurations to groupings of devices and stuff. And then, of course, you get down to the device level, where we can do device overrides. So you might have a site that has three WLANs at all the site, but you have one AP in the lobby that you want to have a different WLAN or something, and you only want it on that one AP. We can do a device override on that. And then your policies, which your policies are going to get mapped to different parts of your configuration, right? So you might have policies that apply to your RF domains or your sites, your WIPS policies, smart RF, that type of stuff. You'll have policies that like captive portal, AAA, stuff that's going to apply to WLANs or to your devices, that sort of thing. So getting on to what you wanted to talk about, that paradigm change that we did gives us the ability to do true zero-touch provisioning. Now, provisioning, this feature is really awesome because if you look at some other solutions, you've got a bunch of sites that that you need to provision, and especially in a large distributed network, retail or something like that, where we've got some customers that have 2, 3, 5, 7,000 sites. That's going to take you a long time to do, 7,000 sites, and traditionally it's sort of it's a project, right? You get your task team together, and these guys get together and they say, okay, we're going to do X number of sites per night, try to get X number of sites done per week and stuff, and the guys, the task team gets together, they deploy the APs. The APs get deployed at the sites. They discover the controller, however they're going to discover the controller. The controller sends out a default profile to the APs, and then they come up under whatever that default thing, profile or parameter is, whatever you want to call it. So then the APs are going to home, right, typically to one controller or whatever, or to a default container. And then you go through the process of manually moving the APs to the sites that they belong to the AP groups they belong to, whatever. I've got here an AP that's fresh out of the box, but it hasn't touched our network yet. So I'm just going to plug it in real quick. We'll continue our discussion. Sriram, you want to, provisioning policy for me? Okay, so I'll get into that in a second. So you look at Motorola's solution. So we've got these profiles and we've got these sites, right? RF domains. Auto provisioning policy, it's really kind of like an access list, right? You've got denies, deny adoption or allow adoption. And then you specify what kind of device you're going to adopt and stuff. and you're going to push out, you're going to push out the profile and the RF domain to the site. Auto provisioning was really cool when we first came out with it in early Wing 5. Irregardless, the ability to drop ship from the warehouse out to the site, not touch the APs, plug them into the network, and bam, it comes up. However, what we ran into with some customers is depending on the nuances of your deployment and what differences you might have at a site or something, you're going to need provisioning rules for all those different changes, right? So there's the potential to have provisioning policies that were hundreds of lines long because you're trying to accommodate for all these. So you had to have that all of that in your config. So we came out with wildcards. Wildcards, we support CDP, LLDP, VLAN, model number, serial number. There's a slew of different things that we can base it on. But like in our example here, we've got the branch 1 devices plugged into a Cisco switch. We've got branch 2 plugged into a different switch, Extreme or whatever. Talking LLDP. AP goes through his process. DHCP learns his controller. He also communicates CDP with his neighbor and says, I'm plugged into this switch. Reaches up to the controller and says, I'm looking for somewhere to be adopted to. And by the way, I'm plugged into this switch. His host name is whatever. So we're matching our profile names and those container names are going to match. Most businesses will have like a naming convention. Since we're talking CDP or whatever, you'll have a naming convention for your switches, right? And maybe at a site, the switch is, I used to be an engineer for DHL, and our naming convention was IATA code, airport code, and then we had a naming convention. So you could base it on that information. Well, every site's going to have their unique thing, right? So then we can say, okay, give it the profile that we're matching on and place it in the RF domain that's relevant to that. And the AP gets its configuration, and it gets added to our configuration file. And there was nothing done. There's no staging process other than doing your configuration and adding this in.
Does that happen across VLANs as well, across subnets?
I'm sorry?
Does that happen across subnets as well? Because I know that with the older code, it was really just a layer 2 thing that they did the auto provision.
No, so I mean we can do it based on IP subnets, ranges, or whatever. We can do it based on MAC addresses, VLAN. There's a big list of things we can base it on.
This goes across subnets. Yes.
Now let's say that AP is in somewhere in the branch, and we have a public network, and let's say internet. HU is at the other end. So how is it going to find its way to its modem?
DNS?
To the controller?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it through DNS. We can do it through DHCP or whatever.
So it has to be a public DNS address, right?
Well, in the case of the public
Yeah.
internet, right? Absolutely, it had to be somewhere.
Yeah, if you're doing doing like some kind of hotspot branch location or something like that, and it's on like that, then
You'll have to open up some ports on the
yeah,
firewall.
then you're going to in that case you're going to have some sort of staging process for that.
Yeah, so I mean, just so like you're connecting the APs to a public network, and you're wanting to establish that connection over an IPsec. I mean, there is in that case like 2 commands I need to issue to help that AP call home. So that can be a very quick staging process.
So what are the variables you can key off of for your auto provisioning variables?
Well, let's step through one of these lines real quick. So we're going to say whether we want to adopt or deny, right? What kind of device, what the hardware type is. Precedence, it's just a rule number. And then the profile, So we, like I said, we can base it on CDP, LLDP. What you choose what you want to base it on, and every scenario is going to be different. Probably what we see the most of is CDP or LLDP, or IP subnet ranges or something like that. That's probably most useful to people. But we get some weird one-off things where they want to base it specifically on well, like a model number or something. We might model number. You might have a customer who decides to deploy 6522s, mostly for client access and stuff, but they also deploy our tri-radio 7131. And we can say, okay, if it's a 7131, it's a tri-radio device, it's automatically going to get a sensor profile, and that third radio is going to get turned up as a sensor automatically. And then the any at the end, that's really your match criteria. The other options here would be CDP match, LLDP match, or whatever, but because we're specifying that in the line, we're just saying match anything, and really where the match is going to come from is what we've specified here.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
And so
I hope I did.
You've pre-done a profile called CDP-NX.
Well, no. So this part here is I'm matching the first 9 characters. I'm sorry, I didn't explain that very well. So I'm matching the first 9 characters of the host name of the switch it's plugged into. This was a big deal for one customer of ours who, like I said, they had a deployment where the provisioning policy, because of their environment and their nuances and stuff, their provisioning policy was several hundred lines long. We implemented wildcards, and we got them down to 4 lines.
Okay, so quickly to just show here, I have two. We have 2 AP6522 profiles defined. It's called SFO branch 1, AP6522, SFO branch 2, AP6522, right? So what happens is the Cisco switch, or the Extreme switch at these 2 branches will have CDP or LDP. Saying that my host name is SFO BR001, right? And then you use that to. So it's kind of instead of, as I said, instead of creating multiple rows, you just use a regex to match.
Makes things a lot easier, right? The network infrastructure is already in place, naming conventions in place.
This one feature alone dramatically
Right.
dramatically decreases our time to deployment for the customers who want to use it. We still have some customers who choose to do a total staging process or whatever, but this dramatically reduces that time to deployment. You want to do?
I actually just run through the troubleshooting, and then because.
We're getting tight on time. Okay. Do show adopt status real quick.
So for those who aren't familiar with the CLI, it's very Cisco-like.
Are you responding?
Yeah,
to something that I've mentioned?
I come from a 13-year background of Cisco engineering and stuff, and I fit like a glove on our stuff. But anyway, so you see now this is the device that I just added. He was not added previously, but okay. So do wait a minute. Yeah, do show adopt wireless AP config. I'm sorry, back up. Yeah, wireless AP config. Okay, so here's the guy. Obviously, he doesn't have a host name because we haven't done that to him yet. That's a device override parameter. But he came up. He was plugged into the branch 2. That's where this cable goes, is to the branch 2 switch. He matched off of this piece, so he got that profile, and he got placed in RF domain because that's what we matched on. Troubleshooting now?
Keep it rolling.
Okay, remote debug. This is another real cool thing. Okay, so we've lots of people can do packet capture and this kind of thing. We can do packet capture on our APs at the various points, on the radio, on the bridge interface, on the gig interface, wherever. But we have a feature called remote debug, and remote debug is multifaceted. Probably one of the things I've played with the most is the live packet capture option of remote debug. But we've got wireless and a bunch of different options. But basically, remote debug gives us a way to troubleshoot do centralized troubleshooting, right? So you want to have a single pane of glass. You want to do all your troubleshooting from the box that you're typically going to be looking at. So we've got a branch. We've got these APs that are at our branch location. When we execute the remote debug, here's just one of the example options that we can do. But when you execute that command on the controller for that site, that controller is sending out that command to those APs, and the APs initiate and then send back the information, and it gets collated. In the case of like a live packet capture, it's a truly distributed sniffer, right? So we can capture at all the various points, wireless, radio, bridge, the various points that I mentioned, and all those the controller is going to send out that command to the site, and all the APs at the site are going to start their packet capture, and those streams are going to get sent up to the controller. They're going to get collated, chronologically correct and stuff, and bam, you're going to get your output, and you can pipe that to via TZSP to Wireshark on your laptop or whatever, and do a real-time debug of the entire site. So you're looking for a client, right? You don't need to know what AP the client's trying to connect to, what corner of the building you're in or whatever. Give me your MAC address and I'll find you.
He said it's live. It's not.
It's live.
Yeah, so the whole problem we're trying to solve here, right? Because we've got intelligent devices at the edge. These devices are remote. We've all had this issue, right? Somebody calls the IT help desk. I'm not getting an IP address, right? My client can't connect. Okay, well, the first thing that the server folks do is punt it to the wireless team, right? Because it's a wireless problem. We're scared of wireless.
The network's down.
Prove to us that it's not our problem, right? So we now have full visibility, basically, with these tools to say, no matter which AP at that remote site that device is connected to, no matter which point in the network or through that AP, I can tell you exactly what's going on. So, by troubleshooting a DHCP, probably a perfect example. I can look on the wireless side and say, hey, you know what? I see that DHCP Discover go over the wireless network. Let me look at the GigE port. Okay, I can see it going out the GigE port. I don't see nothing coming back, right? I can troubleshoot in multiple points in the network regardless how that device is roaming.
So you can feed the debug straight into a Wireshark station. Right?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful thing. We give you different presentation options. So you can see it in the console on the controller, right? A very simplified ASCII type of like source desk, stuff. We can save it to an FTP file, stream it to an FTP server, or we can encapsulate it in TZSP and forward it to a Wireshark host.
And are you capturing layer 1, layer 2 information, or is that strictly data that's coming?
Depends where you decide to capture from. Depends on your capture
So on
point.
the RF interface, right, we'll get all the RF information.
And it's a cool thing, you can filter too, so it's no different than running, packet capture on Linux, right? You can specify, I want to look at, traffic between this source desk, or between these specific MAC addresses, or for this particular port. So you can actually put up to layer 4 filters when you're initiating this as well.
Is it also useful for roaming clients as well and troubleshooting roaming issues?
Well, that's exactly why it's powerful, right? So as the client roams, right, the APs are preloaded with these triggers saying, I'm looking for this traffic. As soon as that client roams, boom, starts forwarding it on. So as that client roams, you will see that traffic continue to be streamed.
Okay, so here's an example of, we've got a client at a site. This client's been given out. He's got the wrong PSK to get on the network, right? Let's see. Was there? Okay, so the administrator gets a call. Hey, my client can't connect. So we run remote debug wireless client. We get the client's MAC address or what have you. Wherever that client's trying to connect at, wherever he's trying to associate, that AP is going to send the feed up to the controller, right? If the client moves over to, roams over to another device, hold on. Where's my other animation? There we go. Roams over to another device. Now that device is sending the feed up to the controller, up to our client.
You sent out a please watch for this MAC address remote debug to everyone in some site.
RF domain.
RF domain.
Yes.
And then they'll all just sit there filtering it as it goes by and only send up what they need.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah, so we did it originally, this little background, this was developed for live packet captures, and then our engineers were like, you know what, all our devices can also do debugging, right? So you guys have all debugged, right? You've gone to like 20 devices, enabled debug, have all that stuff go back to a syslog server, right? And then you hope you can correlate that information together, right? So, you know, they're like, hey, we do this with live packet capture. Wouldn't it be cool if we could also do this for debugging as well? And so, you know, we have that capability for debugging certain events as well, which is really nice. So, want to know what's going on between, you know, the EAP exchange, the four-way handshake. You know, you want to see what management events are going on. You know, what the guy's probing for, who's responding. We can give you all that centrally, right, for a particular client at that remote site or a group of clients.
What
So
is the format? You mentioned Wireshark, so it's OmniPeak support.
Yeah, so you know, yeah, basically standard PCAP file. So I can open it up in Wireshark, OmniPeak, or any standard. You know, it's a standard format, right?
And is the file actually just saved to the controller, and then you have to download it to look at it in Wireshark, or can you stream it directly to Wireshark?
You can stream it straight to Wireshark. That uses TZSP, right? It's Tasman Sniffer Protocol.
Tasman
right?
Sniffer
It's
Protocol,
UDP,
so-
right? Or you can actually have it streamed straight to an FTP server if you want to.
Is that a Wireshark thing, or do
No,
others?
TZSP is standard. All the sniffers are using it and stuff. It's an encapsulation protocol that has become particularly useful in the wireless industry because you can whatever data you're capturing, you can encapsulate that data, send it up. So typically, what I'll do in a situation is I run remote debug, write to TZSP, point to my laptop IP address, and you know, finish out my filter, my command and stuff, hit go, and then I pull up Wireshark. I create a display filter for TZSP. I don't want to see all the other stuff I'm getting. I just want to see TZSP packets, and then I decode those packets and figure out what the problem is. So, and we can do the filtering. You can capture everything and do the filtering once you get it to Wireshark if you want. Or you can create the filters. We can write the filters right into the command and filter on Etherhost, UDP, TCP, whatever. You know, all the various filter types, and just include that in the command. So, you know, so you're not sending so much traffic up to the across the network to your capture host or whatever.
I can see that would be particularly useful for intermittent problems that only happen with certain clients. So, say you have one client that says, oh, every time I go into that room I have problems with the Wi-Fi, and you could set up a filter just to capture that event.
Exactly.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know you didn't want to talk about IPv6, but on the debug, I mean, do you get into some of that? And the reason I ask is I find that to be one of the most problematic things, depending on what version of code, like my Cisco network is running. What the clients are doing with IPv6 could just be maddening on a good wireless network. So your debug, again, we don't have to talk about IPv6, but does it get into that?
We can show you IPv6. So if you want to see what's going on with auto config and all that for IPv6, you know, we can obviously capture all that information and stream
Yeah, and
it
I'm
back
more
to you.
wondering about your ability to control it and say, just, you know, flat out, we're not supporting it, we're blocking it, we're doing some things with it, we're blocking, you know, advertisements. Again, I know you don't want to go down there, but I'm just, does your debug get into that?
So I guess the question is do we support the ability to, you know, control, you know, permit or deny IPv6 traffic? I mean, we have some, you know, filtering capabilities that we can do that.
Block or
Yeah.
passive. Right, so we could be just the IO, right? Just let it go through whatever it goes through. We could completely block it.
Well, we've actually had some, it's funny how much planning we put into this thing. We've had some really cool demos to show you guys and stuff, and CLI stuff and all that, and we have barely hit anything of it so far. We've got time now that we can show you some of that stuff, but you know, we wanted to answer you guys' questions as you had them and everything, so.
Yeah, I manage a very large healthcare network, and I can tell you, it's always challenging trying to put together the debug with the capture, and this is phenomenal.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You know, how many times do you have a problem, you call tech support, and the first thing they say is, you know, can you give me a PCAP, right? Give me a packet cap.
Huh?
Well, now it's, I tell you what, bud, You can do it yourself, right?
You don't have to send an engineer out to the site. But you know, and that's cool and all. But my favorite functionality of remote debug is the live packet capture stuff. That's just cool, geeky stuff, right? We love that. But you know, crash dumps. There's, like I said, a slew of things. You have a catastrophic crash at a site or whatever, and you get a bunch of crash files. Remote debug copy. I don't remember the exact command, but you can copy that stuff up, pull it all from the site. It's per site and, or per list of hosts. Maybe you know that the client is in one corner of the building, and you know APs 1, 2, and 3 are in that corner. You can just list out those 3 APs and not include it for the whole RF domain. So we give you that functionality. Yeah, let's do it. Do we have time? Are we good?
Yes.
Do we have time to geek out a little bit?
Do you guys want to geek out?
Yeah.
What? Let's try that again. Do you guys want to geek out?
Sure.
Yes, we got this
copy and just consider just in case anyone.
That's not geeky.
Yeah, can we
That's not geeky.
Yeah, I mean, you guys feel free to go ahead and take a break, yeah.
Yeah, no break. No break. If you need a break, get up, get some coffee, and come back. Let's geek
But
out.
no break, okay. That's good.
So Vic, you going to do like a Wireshark? You want to show TZSP?
What do we want to show?
Let's see what they want to see.
OPMK?
Remote debug.
Oh, see remote debug, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best thing you've seen yet.
Remote debug.
Yeah.
So we can do the OPMK thing, right? Show the debug, right? Because that's part of it. So we can.
We can actually set up a ROM PSK.
Yeah, we can do that too, right? That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, let me get to my.
Whether he said take it or not.
She said she put it on there so it doesn't.
All right.
Great song of the week. You're strong.
And the European.
Yeah, breaks apparently for the Europeans. Me?
Alright. So, hey Vic. You guys want to fire up a remote debug and what I'll do is, do you want to show the wrong PSK just to show four-way handshake failing?
Okay.
However you want to do it.
Let's do the PMP thing real quick.
Yeah, because that kind of shows.
I mean, that's remote debug and.
Come on, guys.
So what are your duration options? You have 3,600 events. Can you do number of minutes?
Yeah, so you can specify max number of events, or you can specify a time limit,
The
basically
length of time.
whichever one to reach. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. So from a capturing perspective, we can specify how long you want to do it for, or how many events. Same kind of thing applies for the packet captures, and basically whichever one hit first will end the session, right?
Okay, we're going to do the PMK thing?
Yeah, so I'm actually, let me disconnect right now, and so right now I'm going to connect for the first time, so I should see,
Hopefully it'll come up on the.
so basically what you should see is radius and all that other good stuff.
Okay, so here's the setup. He's associated to this AP we've got in our box here, right? And of course we've gone through the whole exchange. Yeah, here's the command. So we're doing a remote debug on we're debugging wireless events. We're doing RF domain branch 2. That's where he's connected at. The client, his MAC address, duration, and here's the events that we've selected to do our debug.
And you can do multiple clients at once?
Yeah, up to 5 actually, so 5 clients at once. So we can also specify an all as well if you really want to get crazy, but you know, if you've...
Specify a subset of a.
Like an OUI? Yeah. Like all Cisco clients or,
Yeah, not really by subset. I mean, the subset would be, specifying particular, a client MAC address, right,
No,
for
I was
this
saying
one.
of the RF domain. So you don't, if VR002
Uh-huh.
was like 50 APs, but I know he's over in the one building.
Okay, not really, because it doesn't really affect the other APs anyway, because it's a trigger, so it's, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so, hey, Sriram, you want to scroll down
Yeah.
to the bottom for me?
Yeah.
Hit spacebar a couple times there.
Yeah. So you see, so in this case here, you know, the client connected, you see all the radius, you see the EP exchange, you see the four-way handshake going on, right? So this is great now because you've got full visibility. You know, those handheld devices aren't connecting. You know, where's it failing at, right? Am I getting a radius reject, right? Can I now go and beat up my radius server guys? Or, you know, something else going on, right? I've got full visibility into that client.
Not that I want to slam on this, because I love it. It's easily the best thing you've talked about. But I don't know a lot of IT guys who know how to decode this. We might be able to understand what you're talking about. Is there some GUI-based front end for my K-12 IT guys who can get the same kind of thing?
There is an AP, there is a function of ADSP, it's called AP test, I guess, that does something very similar to this, that's all in the GUI, that would be more targeted for help desk type personnel. Yeah.
Yeah, we, you know, being geeks, we're always playing in the CLI. We always say, you know, that's where your best troubleshooting is going to be done and stuff. But yeah, you, the ADSP stuff, I wish we had time to get into some of that because that's really cool. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is close this guy up here. And we're just facilitating a roam, right? Well, there it goes. So the first thing to notice is what don't we see here, right? We don't see a full exchange up to our radius server and stuff. He just roamed, and we've got our four-way handshake. So that was kind of anticlimactic for me. It was.
So where is this being stored? Where is this particular one being stored? Like the actual packet captures? Can we see those for this particular?
Okay, right now we're not doing a packet capture. You're just seeing it scroll by on the console, so you can copy it or whatever. Actually, now that I think of it, I've never played around with. Well, we've got the write option, so you can write it off. In this case, it's just going to write off this whatever you name the file.
This is distributing debug, right? This is in this case right here. So this is distributed debug. So you could send this off to a syslog server, but again, it's all consolidated, right? You're not getting like 50 different debug sources coming into different files, right? That you're having to consolidate.
So, I think we're looking at maybe like doing a TZSP off of that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I could do. Which one's the PSK? So let me try and connect to a PSK one here, and I'll just put the. I don't know. Well, even better than that, I can put the wrong username and password in. Here, let me.
PMSK works great for
Yeah, well, I can just break my password here.
our Max applicants. Awesome. Just let me know. They're just not great.
Did you do remote and wireless?
You gonna
And then
kick
start
that
it
up
up
again?
again.
Yeah.
There we
So hopefully Windows doesn't cache this because I don't know. So should be getting some. Yep. So you should be getting a radius reject in there somewhere.
You did.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's show them the packet capture stuff to TZSP.
Just before you move, one thing to just note here is we're seeing the logs from that particular AP. So if it all comes into Leap, you would actually see it based on which AP is coming in. So from a timing perspective, assuming everything is synced in, you would see everything into Leap based on how those events happen.
I've got Wireshark down in the taskbar there. Yeah, I don't remember what my IP is. You'll have to figure out what my IP is. Well, actually, for this, it doesn't really matter, right? We're just showing them TZSP, so.
So while we're setting up, any other questions?
At what point does the performance start to get crippled, you know?
Oh, from doing a live packet cast?
Yeah.
That's a great question, yeah, especially if you're storing a lot of it controlling, right?
Yeah.
So general recommendation, right? If you're doing this over WAN, depending on what environment you're in, it's going to depend on what kind of backbone you've got. But we generally, as a best practice, So as a general best practice, when you're doing the packet capture stuff, because you're actually encapsulating frames, right, and forwarding that over. We typically recommend that you would put some kind of filters on to narrow in on what type of traffic you're looking for. You're not going to do just hey, I just want to see everything, right? Because then, you can potentially impact the APs as well. So most of our customers will absolutely put a filter in, knock it down. I'm just looking for, ports 6869 or 443 or whatever my application is. And then, it's going to minimize the impact over the WAN. The debug is stuff's text, right? So it's pretty small.
No, end the session.
Yes. Actually, so good question. So do we have best practices? Yes, there are some best practices that are published on our Support Central website, as well as a variety of different how-to guides. So that's all on MotorolaSolutions.com and support, and then under any of the products that we showed there, the RFS controllers or the APs. You should see under documentation all the Wing 5 guides.
How-tos, right?
How-tos. Before we're done today, I don't want to derail this, but before we're done today, can you guys talk about where you see your place in the market and if you're doing anything to evolve where that's going, etc.? Even just in brief.
We're the bee's knees, man. Look at the stuff we're showing you.
You are the bee's knees. I'll give you that. You're the cat's ass, you're the bee's knees.
Well, that's a great question.
It doesn't tell me much, but you're all that.
We've all come from different places, and fortunately we ended up here at Motorola, right? I can just tell you, from an industry perspective, there is no better radio out there, right? And when it comes right down to wireless connectivity, your customers are looking at that little 4 bars in the bottom right-hand corner of their screen, right? And that's what they see. They don't see the wireless packet caps, they don't see all the icing on the cake. But they see those 4 bars. And you're absolutely right. We're going to drive that more, right? So our verticals is not retail anymore, right? It's not retail. It's retail, it's education, it's healthcare, right? Higher ed. It's outdoor environments. The fact that we can do the voice over IP, application-specific ACLs, right? Quality of service. We have no bounds really, and so our big focus is everywhere. It's all about speeds and feeds, and if we can get our customers just to start looking at those speeds and feeds and how they can capitalize on our infrastructure.
Is the Canopy Group still part of what you guys are as well?
So no, it is not. However,
I'm not sure. I think this is
I'm
on
sorry.
cameras and also it's a bit
Yeah,
scary, but I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is TJ Mann, and I run the field enablement and the technical marketing team within Motorola's wireless LAN group. And wanted to just take a few minutes of we have a Gartner review going on today, so apologize. We couldn't spend much time here, me and other folks from our marketing team. But just wanted to stop by, welcome you all. This is a very important event for us because, as you've noticed, we've got a lot of good technology, but unfortunately, we've not been, on the marketing side. Our focus has primarily been on our core market, which is predominantly we dominate the retail, transportation, and manufacturing segments, and that's where we are we have our big focus. So our focus for 2013 and beyond is to build out at least 2 or 3 new vertical markets, and we're going after hospitality and the telco market. That's sort of our big area of focus. So hopefully you guys can get some word out on our products and all the stuff we do, and any feedback you can provide on things you see missing, or from an industry standpoint, how you benchmark our capabilities, our feature set. We welcome that, and we want to keep this an ongoing engagement, keep in touch with this community, and really we could use your support to help us as sort of in the social media at least get the word out about the terrific set of products and people we have within this organization. So thank you again.
I have a question for you specifically on that. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've known Motorola since I was a little kid with walkie-talkies. And it's gone together, apart, and so where are you today? I mean, we're talking about the wireless, how does that fit in the whole
So we are-
Motorola parts?
Sure. So Motorola today is set up, there are two business groups with Motorola. One focused on the enterprise side, which is the simple acquisition Motorola made back in 2007. And that is the whole portfolio of enterprise mobile computing, RFID, and wireless networking solutions. On the other side of the house, we have our government and public safety solutions, which is everything from the two-way radios to a whole bunch of video and public safety type of solutions that we sell to state and local and the federal government. So that's sort of the two groups. The cell phone and that whole portfolio was Motorola Mobility, which got spun out and is now part of Google. So this group here rolls into the enterprise portfolio, and that sits along with our government business as well. So we have a lot of cross-selling going on right now. We're doing wire development because our two-way radio dealers, and we've got a very big partner base on the state and local government side, and those guys are very well plugged into opportunities, especially in the K-12 education market, in some cases hospitality, because a lot of places you go, you see the Motorola two-way radios, and we have customer access. It's just that we have a lot of work to do to enable our partners, train them, and really build that go-to-market, which is our priority for the next couple of years.
Is that also the handheld scanning devices as well?
Yes. So the scanners and the mobile computers are all part of the enterprise portfolio, which is in Motorola Solutions.
Let's say that I'm a customer and I haven't been here today. I haven't heard of your technology. What would be the top 3 reasons I would consider Motorola?
Sure. So I hope we walked you guys through our operating system, the Wing 5 OS that runs on our controllers and access points.
Yeah.
Now the big advantage we have, we were the first to come out with this distributed architecture where we built out this intelligent edge with access points that run many of the critical networking and RF services locally within the APs. So if you look at the advantages that offers to the end customer, for a large distributed enterprise, there are many sites that are remote sites, that are small sites, medium, large sites. And in our deployment model for large-scale enterprise Wi-Fi, you don't have to go around putting a controller at every single site. And we can do much of that from our very large NX9500 type controllers. We scale up to 10,000 access points from a single controller. And that simplifies management. It reduces the capex associated with purchasing the hardware, deploying it, and maintaining it. And then for a number of for certain scenarios where you don't have to do that controller round trip, we do feel like we have an advantage in improving the performance of real-time applications. Peer-to-peer voice, or in some cases video streaming works better when you can avoid a hop through the network to the core, through controller, and then come down. And we feel this is going to emerge. Back in the day when we came out with the switching idea, when we patented the whole wireless switch concept, right? It was a model appropriate for the bandwidth that was available at the time. With 11N, now with 11AC coming down, we feel there is so much bandwidth that is available, and there's so much traffic that's going to have to run through the network core, that it's just not an efficient model to keep scaling your core controller capacity. You have 40 gigs today, you can go to 100 gigs and just keep building on that, on top of a wired network that is already gigabit. So you're not really taking advantage of the access and the distribution layer that you have built, and we have a deployment model that can do tunnel as well as local bridging, and with no loss of services. So to answer your question, long-winded answer, but 3 key advantages: simplified management, lower capex, improvement in the performance of real-time multimedia applications.
Thanks.
What was the eye catcher out of Motorola to buy Symbol, finally?
Well, that's probably a question way above my pay grade, but I'll try and take.
Because there were some alternatives why they want to
I
buy
think,
some.
obviously, Motorola at the time was looking to grow, and this was a terrific way to acquire a footprint within enterprise, because Motorola at the time was just focused on the consumer with the cell phones, and the government public safety market had zero footprint in the enterprise. And by acquiring Symbol, which there was a lot of synergies, because the ruggedized two-way radios that Motorola sells, Symbol had a full portfolio of ruggedized mobile computing devices with the largest OEM for Microsoft on the enterprise side for the Windows CE and Windows mobile platforms. And that gave them instant access to this huge base of customers within retail, transportation, and manufacturing. That's sort of our core market.
Especially in the logistics, transportation,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were very
I mean,
strong.
We've so this is getting streamed. We can't name names, but I can tell you 6 of the top 10 retailers, very large customers, use Motorola Wi-Fi. 3 of the top 3 TNL, transportation, logistics, courier and package handling companies, in the US and worldwide, end-to-end Motorola Wi-Fi networks, and these are extremely mission-critical networks. I mean, if one of those hubs were to go down, infrastructure is not operating, packages don't ship. So it's very mission-critical. People talk of dense deployments today in sort of, with BYOD and all that. We've been doing dense device network designs and capabilities to enable deployment to support dense devices for a very long time. So within these environments, you typically have 200-300 scanners and mobile computers that are in a small area, for overnight charging or for when they do sorting and picking and shipping. You have a lot of devices that are in that environment, and then mission critical Wi-Fi in harsh RF environments has been our specialty for decades now. Right? We've been in this industry for over, I would say, almost 15 years now.
So, I mean, I agree with you with what you were just saying about your strength in retail, manufacturing, distribution, those sort of fields. But it seems to me where Motorola has stumbled in the market is specifically in enterprise, but in breaking out of just focusing completely on that space. There's a really good tie-in, of course, between the handheld devices and your APs as a system to go together specifically for those markets. But how is Motorola going to break out of that and be more appealing to, say, enterprise customers?
Okay, so not to make this too much of a marketing session, I'll let you guys get back with the technical team. But I'll just quickly respond to that. Our go-to-market model, the way we engage our customers is not that we here's another access point. Right? There is at least a dozen companies out there that Wi-Fi is now such a big market. Right? We're looking at almost a $4 billion worldwide market. So there's a lot of players, but our model has been to sell solutions, be it a end-to-end system to deploy voice over WLAN, or with a mobile computing application, or with iPads that are running a certain business application and need Wi-Fi. So we've always combined a lot of different product sets that we have, and then created solutions for customers. And to give you an example, for the retail customer, our main solution offering today is what we call a connected shopper, which is the idea that when a shopper walks into a mall or a retail store, they typically have a smartphone device which is Wi-Fi capable, have some sort of a loyalty app that's running, and now retailers can engage with that shopper, offer them product information, price comparison, reviews, all of this from their app running off of the Wi-Fi network instead of 3G, which coverage is not typically good inside malls. 3G data plans are metered, and it's just better, right? Wi-Fi is better than using 3G. So our offering is this connected shopper solution, tying with the WLAN infrastructure, with the backend systems to do some analytics and be able to make personalized offers and understand shopper buying behavior. That's the whole solution. Now, if you look at the hotel market, right, it's very similar. You have guests that check in, that bring in iPads and iPhones. Typical guest at a hotel today has about 2.5 devices, is what the surveys tell us. And the ability to connect with that guest on a one-on-one basis, be able to provide services interactively on their mobile device, all running on a WLAN that that's the guest Wi-Fi within a hotel, and using the same infrastructure to run business operations. So you've got housekeeping people, you've got security staff, you've got the front desk that typically use either mobile phones or you use two-way radios that can all be voice telephony on WLAN. And that's our solution offering for hospitality. And we're finding there are a lot of takers. Just this past year, we've signed about 250 new hotel customers, right, in the hospitality segment. So we've just launched this solution for less than 6 months now, the connected shopper taking now to the connected guest experience. And we're finding there's tremendous amount of opportunity within hospitality and same for the telco market. All right, folks, so with that, I'll check out and leave you with, stop my marketing, leave you with the guys who really know what they're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so where are we at? We ready, guys?
Cool. So we're going to do we'll show you guys a quick packet capture, remote debug on branch 2. So this is a quick demo of he's going to connect to a WLAN that's mapped to a VLAN that doesn't have DHCP services.
So just to mention, I'm just going to run a debug command here. The cool thing about CLI that I like is it's autofilling when you do a tab, and it also kind of lists the profiles that are being configured. For example, if you want to do, say, remote debug live PKD cap out of domain and do a tab, it lists the out of domain that's been configured instead of having to remember the name and typing it in there. And again, it's, as I said, it can autofill. And say do bridge.
Yeah, we can capture on bridge.
Bridge.
Set the
you can say
count for like
count
1,000 or whatever.
Yeah, and then say filter. I want to do say DHCP port 67 or port 68. Okay.
And yeah, you're connecting to WFD DHCP.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
Is it initiated?
This is going.
What's the key?
Oh, did we have a key on that one?
I'm going to take a wild guess.
It's probably one of the usuals. You might want to double check it on the what the key was on the WLAN.
We want remote debug, right? So that bypass the full white handshake, right?
It's Motorola.
Boy, I guess wrong.
Is it still running?
No, I think it got aborted.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Don't connect it. You didn't point it to. You didn't point it to
The TZSP.
TZSP.
Ah, okay. Sorry, guys.
So TZSP is just basically a port base, right? So you open up a port.
You have to do right before. I think you got
before?
to come right after bridge and do right. TZSP.
You know what, let me just do a from here.
Oh, back up some more. It's before bridge, the interface.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrupt you. Is there a chance of putting on the Vik projector that folks at home can see?
Maybe we should.
Yeah, actually, we can move
I can
this
just move this
laptop
guy up there.
to here.
Yeah.
Or just move the VGA cord over?
I don't know if it'll reach, but this is cool. We can.
We have to stop soon, guys, too.
Okay, we are almost on there.
All right. Oh, hopefully my cable will stay connected.
Yeah.
Leave the. Here, you take that one. We'll swap you.
Let me just go there. Let me hold this for you, and then when you just on. It's right here. So, why don't you just type it?
Better?
Yeah, it's clearly home
All right, hold on. Let me.
Remote debug.
Remote. You got the laptop?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Live. Remote debug. Okay, capture.
Right.
Right.
Right. TZSP.
So the air defense, right, provides you with packet capture.
1.119, I guess, right?
So air
199
defense
is my
provides
address,
you
right?
packet capture.
199?
Or
The
31.
issue with sensor-based packet capture, right, it only gives you the encrypted RF view, right? So, you know, you have no idea what's going on inside the payload, right? So that's another nice thing about this capability
count.
is it gives you that visibility.
Bridge. Count.
10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Make it 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah. Skits here. Filter.
Filter.
Port 67 or 68.
67.
For a firewall?
Not and all.
Yeah, you can do. You can
No,
do
and no do.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are default
And don't
aliases
show
in
the
there,
packet, right?
if memory serves.
Press both the ports.
All right, let me.
Wait, it'll show.
All right.
I got it.
You got it? All right, it should be running. You're gonna have to bring up Wireshark. Are you connecting?
Assuming I put in the PSK correctly.
It's got to be R, dude.
It's not running. Sorry, guys.
It's got to be R.
You got the laptop?
Yeah, I got it.
Why is it not going back?
So I got some new guys who used to CLI.
Filter.
Port 67.
67.
Or 68. Port 68.
CLI, big
Port?
CLI.
Port 68.
Typically,
yeah.
I mean, in any run,
68.
right, you're gonna have these scripts written out.
Doesn't
So,
look like it's running.
Why is
All
it
right,
not
go
running?
to Wireshark.
It's
Yeah,
just a
shit.
basically. There we go.
All right. You want me to release and renew again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So you can see that
Yep.
TZSP's running, so we're picking up
Yeah.
a specific port that the designated, I think it's 5001.
Yeah.
So
There's this packet.
one of the things with TZSP, so you're gonna, I don't know if we're gonna show it here, but you're gonna get, we're sending on UDP port 37008 or something like that for TZSP. Because you don't have a service listening on your laptop to that, you're gonna get the destination port unreachable ICMP messages and stuff, so you can filter that out. Those will typically show up black in the filter as well. Is that
So-
all we've got? Scroll
Yeah.
down.
No, there's more. So
Yeah, so you can see.
so this is a broadcast packet. So if you look at port 67 down, right here, that's
Yeah.
the DHCP.
Yeah, so you can spend that out, right?
Yep.
And you can see the Discover and all that good stuff.
I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah,
You send the decode to your laptop and then you decode it. But it is real time.
So I could probably connect to a different WLAN. You could probably see a success going through, I guess, right?
Right.
So let me get back to the OPMK. And then,
So you're not actually able to, with this process, capture the radio tap headers?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, you want to see the radio tab?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
do radio.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, we can do radio, bridge, wireless, which are two different things. Gig interfaces, VLAN, or VIPs, layer 3 interfaces.
Right, so all the radio
Yeah.
taps are.
yeah, so the capture points, so on the AP, if you look at a physical AP, you've got the Ethernet port, right? So on that you can look, so you can filter in on that. You've got bridge, which is basically traffic that is going either MU to or client to client, client to wire, wire to client. There's a routed filter there. We can even look at tunnel traffic, so we can actually traffic's being encapsulated and forwarded in IPsec. And then from there's a wireless filter. So the wireless gives you an unencrypted view of what's going on. So basically think of it as like an Ethernet 2 view of what's going in and out of your radios over the air. And you can do that per wireless LAN. And then a radio perspective, it gives you the 802.11n encapsulated view.
So if you have an encrypted network, you can see through the packet.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because you're doing encryption, decryption functions on
Yeah,
the
right
AP,
on the
so it
AP,
has
right, yeah.
that visibility. Absolutely.
Because you're essentially concatenating all of those different streams together. If you looked at things like retries and CRC errors, you'd be getting a different picture, of course. No, that so you probably couldn't use it for that.
Well, you actually, CRCs and retries, you probably could, because you're just gonna pick up off a specific Ethernet port,
Sure.
right? And you'd know, you would actually isolate where that's happening based on your
But I mean, just because if you've got a client would say a low SNR, and they're getting those
Retries.
exactly,
Radio
or
retries, right.
another client close to the AP, that'll be start to become difficult to troubleshoot.
So can you capture and correlate off of multiple interfaces at the same time, right? Can I capture off of an Ethernet interface on the AP as well as the radio tap header, and then aggregate?
So
those
can
together?
I?
No, not today.
I can't
Not
do
today.
multiple sessions
I mean, what I'm
Well,
saying
even
isn't
so,
really a
I mean-
limitation. It's just how it, it's just
or
a
multiple
limitation.
interfaces, not
Yeah.
as of today.
Yeah.
No.
Although,
Areas.
Yeah, you give them an inch,
two
they want a
different
mile.
sessions, two different,
Hey, come on.
Exactly.
two different terminal sessions.
No, you can't start the sessions
Oh,
twice.
yeah, because it's the same.
Yeah. What, is that it? I guess that's it, guys.
Question here.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm a customer again.
Okay.
Do I need a service contract? How does that work? Like, what covers the service? Are you 24/7 as far as technical problems are concerned?
Well, yeah, I'll give you my number.
I think we're in that regards. I mean, we're not in the handle that side of the business. That from an architecture side, we're pretty much the same as other vendors out there. So with different SLAs based on response time, tax support, and things like that. We're probably not the right individuals to address that.
We've got managed services as well, and the usual stuff.
All right, well.
All right. Anything else, guys?
We'll wrap it up.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Let's
much.
get this down.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone in the audience. Thank you guys.
Thank you.